Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is the Football Connect. I'm your host Sam, and we are back again with another one, with another edition of what the hell happened in the week 20 of the Premier League. Yeah, it is the week 20 of the Premier League. So remember, we had all the games which were played in the Premier League. The last game that we're gonna talk about it was Liverpool versus United. Didn't leave the ground happy because my team lost, but we also have to look at everything that happened in the game. So I'm really excited over what we're going to be covering. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What did you think of this week? Who impressed you the most? So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of every game which was played and what happened. So week 20 started with Tottenham Hotspurs playing against Newcastle. They lost by 2-1. We also saw Bournemouth play against Everton and they beat them by 1-0. And we saw Aston Villa beating Leicester by 1-0. We also saw Crystal Palace draw with Chelsea, and this is going to affect where they stand in the table. I mean Chelsea, by the way. Then Southampton were humbled by Brentford by being beaten by 5-0. Manchester City beat West Ham by 4-1. We saw Arsenal drawing with Brighton 1-1. Then Fulham drawing with Ipswich 2-2. Man United draw with Liverpool 2-2. Then, by the way, those were the Sunday games. Then on Monday, we saw Nottingham Forest beating Wolves by 3-0. So, starting with the first game, Tottenham Hotspurs, the one thing that they were looking for was to actually come back and maybe show a performance, show that they actually belong to be where they are. They come in and prove that they are meaning something. They had to win this game, in other words. That's what they were actually supposed to be doing, winning the game. Yet, we saw them in these games concede the silly chances. Like, of course, there are questions over the goal, credibility of the goal, because let me remind you, 3 minutes into the game, Tottenham Hotspur scores a goal, and I'm like, okay, this is looking so good. They're celebrating. Dominic Solanke is going there. Then later on, as we move on from Dominic Solanke, 2 minutes later, Anthony Gordon scores a goal. But the interesting part about Anthony Gordon's goal, there was a ball that hit Jollington's hand, and it was given as a goal. But yet, in the Premier League rules that we're used to, everything that leads to goal, any handball that leads to a goal, it should be cut. And that was the build-up, and it led to a goal. The fact that the Premier League did not change that raises so many questions rather than answers over the credibility of what happened in the game. And then it was 1-1. Then Alexander Isak scored the second goal. It's now 2-1. Then the game went on. Tottenham Hotspurs were trying. They were moving, but they just could not get the final nail in the coffin, or to just get the chances or finish the chances. They struggled in the game until to a point where Kulusevski hit Gordon into the face in the 18 area. Should have been a penalty, but it was not given. The reason why I'm talking about that, put a pen on it, because we're going to talk about it as we go forward in the other games. Then Bournemouth went to Everton. Everton went to Bournemouth, then they were beaten by 1-0. Are we surprised that Everton are losing with the regular teams, but they can stop the big teams? I don't think any of us are surprised, because they are good at that. They stopped Arsenal, they stopped Chelsea, they stopped the Man City, yet they've been losing to a Bournemouth. They lost to Nottingham Forest last week. They just cannot deal with the teams with the roadblock, because it forces them to play football, and when they play football, they're getting exposed in the game. Then Aston Villa played against Leicester City in a game that I felt like it was actually very close than what the world actually expected, because when you look at it from the other point of view, Aston Villa were trying by means, they were attacking, they were going forward, they were causing chaos, but also the Leicester did the same thing. The problem with Leicester is that they just did not convert their goals which they were creating. The chances that they were making, they just could not turn them into goals. If that was the difference, if they had done that, this could have been a difference in terms of how the game actually came back to be. But that's how the game went on like. Then we also look at the other side. Then Aston Villa scored the 2 goals, and I just felt Leicester should have equalized in the last kick, but they just could not get to that ball. And that's how the game finished 2-1 to Aston Villa. Crystal Palace were in the game. They were under pressure. Chelsea were all over them. Chelsea scores an amazing goal from Cole Palmer. Jackson had so many chances. He kept on missing the chance. By the way, before I go anywhere, I know I did the reaction of this game, but I was really impressed by the young defender of Chelsea. I think his name is Archie Paul. I think this kid is going to be an amazing kid. At that age, coming on your debut and actually becoming like the leader in the defensive line, that shows guts, and I believe he's going to grow up to be a better player. And I know the game at the end of the day finishes a draw, and they are so down because these are now 4 games for Chelsea, 2 draws and 2 losses. It's not looking good. They were just a point. They were just a game away to be ahead of Liverpool before they played. Yet now I can tell you that they have fallen down, so down that they're, I think, 1 point or 2 points behind the City. And City, we were saying that they were out of the title race. That tells you everything you need to know about the Premier League. But that's how it's looking like for Chelsea. Then, of course, we saw Crystal Palace coming into the game. An amazing assist from Eze, in which was caught by Mateta, gave the Crystal Palace team back into the game. And when they were back into the game became rosy. They almost won the game in the very end. Somehow it felt like Chelsea just lost all the confidence and all the hopes. There were players like Jordan Sancho who were really impressive the way they played the game and stuff like that, but the hope was really gone. Then Southampton played against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth beat Southampton by 5-0 at Southampton's home ground. If that doesn't speak relegation as loud as we look at it, I don't know what else will. That just confirms that Southampton are literally relegated from the Premier League before we even played the almost of the second part of the games in the Premier League. Then Manchester City played against West Ham. And again, this is also one of those games that you say, of course, Man City won the game, but West Ham had so many chances that they did not convert. And because they did not convert, Man City were able to take theirs. Haaland scored 2 goals. And we are now starting to see what we've been asking from Man City's youngster who came in, what's his name? He had a goal, an own goal, which he led to. Then Phil Foden scored the goal. Savinho scored the first goal. He helped. Then it was an own goal. Then Haaland scored the 2 goals. Then, of course, the last goal came from Phil Foden. It looks like the robot is coming back, people. It looks like it's coming back. Brighton versus Arsenal. This was an interesting game. If you didn't watch my analysis, I would advise you that you go check it out on the Football Connect before you come to this. But anyway, if you are going to watch what I'm going to talk about, but I feel like Arsenal are lacking in terms of creativity, and they are now relying on so much. I talked about how important the young kid was, Winieri, in this game, and the fact that he came out at halftime, and now it has been confirmed that he came out because of an injury. Also give us an understanding why Mikel Arteta had to take him out. But I wonder, because the players who came in, the likes of Trossard, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, they just cannot create anything. And that's where the problem has been for us now, especially with that Saka and Odegaard. I thought that with Odegaard, but Odegaard was coming from an injury. With him back in the team, well, that was going to help in terms of creation, but it just feels like something's lacking. But what can we say? They lost the game at the end of the day. Then we move on to they drew the game, but they're not lost. Drew the game. Brighton could have won it, by the way, as well in the end. The reason why I was saying that take a pin on the Tottenham golden chance is because we need to talk about the penalty which was given to Brighton. I know so many Gunners has been complaining about this. They felt like they were not treated well. It was unfair what happened and stuff like that. And I'm not refusing what they're saying. It might have been unfair, but we have to look at it. This guy hit the guy in the head, and he was late. The ball was gone. Even though they are trying to look for a touch, of course, if there was a touch, okay. But yet the ball had moved and he hit a player in the head. That for me counts for something. And it happens even when you're playing with the legs. If somebody hits you, even if the ball is passed, what happens? That's the question that we have to ask. And I'm telling you, that was a penalty, and I know it's going to take forever to understand, but what I can say is this: the Premier League officials also got it wrong between Newcastle and Tottenham. That should have been a penalty because of the way that this guy took out another player's nose. It was unfair. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section over that situation. Then we go to the Fulham versus Ipswich game. It finished 2-2. I'm really, really impressed with what Ipswich has been doing. They've been picking up points, a point or 3 points. They are fighting and they are very, very close out of the relegation. If they continue with this form in the next 3 or 4 games, that could push them even further, far away from the relegation. And they need to survive because we are tired of the teams that are being promoted going back into the championship. But we have to wait and see what happens as the games continues. Then we move on to Liverpool versus Man United, the game of the week. This game left me with so many questions rather than answers. In terms of being a Liverpool fan, how much this has now put pressure on us. But one thing I want to say about this game, we need to talk about United, because United have just proven to the world that this is a good team. This is a good set of players. If they are well, if they play so well, they can hurt teams. We have to understand Amiron was angry at the end of the game because he felt like if they're able to put out a performance like this with the team that is on top of the league, the best team in Europe at the moment, why can they not do it in the games that we played before? Why didn't they do it with the games that passed before? And those are the questions that are being asked. But to be honest, the way this game went on, the way they played, the way they attacked this, it was out of this world. And I was really, really impressed by Manchester United. On the other side, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I did talk so much about it. You can go check out the reaction. I did talk about how much I was disappointed with the way he was exposed and why he was not even able to do. But I actually discovered something after watching some tactical shows. United targeted him. That is clear. We saw that clear as daylight. They targeted him. But the interesting thing that I did not see was the fact that Bruno Fernandes and Dalot were literally two players who were making sure that they're covering the spaces of Trent Alexander-Arnold, putting him pressure, not allowing him to be comfortable. And on top of that, the Madrid things, his head became worse lost than it was. And I know so many people are talking about the likes of Arsenal, City, and Chelsea can come back and then start the rest. But we have to wait and see on that. Remember, Nottingham Forest is the next game for Liverpool. It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. Like, talking of Nottingham Forest, they beat Wolves by 3-0, which put them at same levels with Arsenal, 40 points, and they are just 6 points away from Liverpool. It's going to be interesting to see how the situation goes on. But this team look like they mean business. And the other stats that I just said, they are very, very close to where Leicester City were the season Leicester City won the league. Can they do it another Leicester season? I wonder. Let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the connector. But this is exactly what happened in week 20 of the Premier League. We'll be back again with the Premier League. As we know, it's going to be FA Cup week and we have Carabao Cup week. I did not do the preview for Arsenal, but I'm going to be doing some reactions on it as well as the Liverpool game. Click the like button, subscribe to Connect. We'll see you on another one. We're out. Peace. Subscribe to the Connect.